Victory is not won in the arena, it is won in the preparation, in the hours no one sees, in the choices no one celebrates. A samurai does not become invincible through talent. He becomes invincible through routine, precision, repetition, and restraint. These are his allies. The undisciplined wait for motivation. The warrior moves regardless. He trains his mind before he sharpens his blade. If you want a life of mastery, you must live by a code. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind, and tell us, where are you watching from? Listen carefully, for I speak not of techniques today, but of the foundation that makes all techniques possible. Structure is not a cage that limits you. It is the scaffold upon which you build your strength. In my years of wielding the sword, I have learned that the difference between the master and the amateur lies not in their knowledge, but in their relationship with structure. I have witnessed countless warriors fall not to superior swordsmen, but to their own chaos. They train when inspiration strikes, rest when fatigue whispers, and wonder why victory eludes them. Such is the way of the amateur who lives at the mercy of impulse. They seek the secret techniques, the hidden knowledge, yet cannot maintain the simple discipline of rising at the same hour each day. The true warrior understands excellence is not found in sporadic bursts of brilliance. It is forged in the furnace of routine, tempered by unwavering dedication to structure. Your day must be as precisely carved as the blade you carry. Each hour must serve its purpose. Each action must align with your path. Think deeply on this. Would you trust a sword forged without method? Would you enter battle with armor assembled? By chance? Then why do you trust a life built on whims? The greatest battles are won long before the sword leaves its scabbard. They are won in the structured preparation that precedes them. Here is what most don't understand about the warrior's path. Your routines are not separate from your training. They are your training. Every moment you spend in chaos weakens your spirit. Every structured hour strengthens your resolve. The way you arrange your day becomes the way you arrange your life. Begin here. Divide your day into segments as clear as the phases of the moon. Morning preparation, skills practice, physical conditioning, strategic study, reflection. Let each block of time serve a specific purpose, as each movement in a sword kata serves its unique function. This is not about rigid control, it is about conscious design. Your schedule must be rigid enough to provide direction, yet flexible enough to adapt to circumstance, like a bamboo grove, strong in its structure, yet able to bend with the wind, without breaking. This is the paradox of the warrior's way. Through structure comes flexibility, through discipline comes freedom. Remember this truth. The universe tends toward chaos. Your duty is to impose order. Start with your daily schedule. End with mastery of the self. The structures you build today become the foundations of your tomorrow. Watch closely those who achieve greatness in any domain. Behind their visible excellence lies an invisible architecture of routine. They have learned what you must now understand. Structure is not the enemy of creativity. It is its foundation. The master calligrapher does not feel restricted by the rules of his art. He finds freedom within them. But let me ask you this. How many times have you vowed to change, only to let your resolve crumble by nightfall? The difference between the warrior and the dreamer lies not in their aspirations, but in their adherence to structure. Dreams without structure remain dreams. Structure without purpose becomes prison. The path of structure requires courage. Most will not understand your dedication. They will call it rigid, excessive, unnecessary. Let them talk. The warrior knows that freedom is found not in formlessness, but in form. The cherry blossom achieves its beauty not through random growth, but through adherence to the inherent structure of its nature. Your life must become like the katana, every element in its proper place, every action serving its purpose, every moment aligned with its aim. This is not restriction. This is the beginning of true power, the power to shape your days, to forge your destiny, to master your path. Start now, not tomorrow, Not when conditions are perfect, not when you feel ready. The warrior's path begins with a single structured day, then another, then another. This is how empires are built. This is how warriors are made. This is how excellence becomes not a distant goal, but a daily reality. In my years of study, I have learned that mastery begins not with what you add, but with what you remove. The greatest sword stroke is not the one with the most flourish. It is the one stripped of all excess. This truth extends beyond the dojo, beyond the battlefield into every aspect of your existence. Consider the blade of a katana. Its deadliness lies not in decoration, but in its essential form. Each unnecessary element dulls its purpose. Your life must be forged with the same principle. Every possession you own, every commitment you make, every habit you maintain, each must prove its worth or face elimination. Most who seek excellence fail because they pile more upon more activities, more possessions, more commitments. They mistake abundance for achievement. But look at nature. The tiger does not carry unnecessary weight into the hunt. The eagle does not gather trinkets in its nest. The bamboo does not grow leaves it cannot sustain. Here's what most people don't understand. Your greatest opponent is not external challenge, it is internal clutter. The mind scattered by 1,000 concerns cannot focus on the essential path. Every distraction you tolerate becomes a crack in your armor, a weakness in your stance, a hesitation in your strike. You must become ruthless in your elimination. Look at your daily activities with the eye of a swordmaster. Does this serve your growth? Does this sharpen your mind? Does this strengthen your spirit? If not, it must be cut away without mercy. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. The surgeon's knife removes what threatens health. Your discernment must do the same. Begin with your morning. How many distractions do you allow to infiltrate your first hour? The warrior does not check messages before checking his blade. He does not pollute his mind with noise before setting his direction. Every morning is a battle for focus. Win it by eliminating what does not serve your purpose. Next, examine your space. A cluttered room reflects a cluttered mind. The samurai keeps his weapons clean, his armor organized, his quarters sparse. Not for appearance, for clarity. When everything has its place, the mind can rest in purpose. Your environment shapes your thoughts shape your actions shape your destiny. But let me ask you this. What comfort are you clinging to that holds you back? What habits have you justified that weaken your resolve? These are the hidden enemies that must be identified and eliminated. The warrior does not negotiate with what diminishes his power. He cuts it out, root and stem. Your schedule, too, must face the blade. Cut away the meetings that drain your energy. Eliminate the commitments that scatter your focus. Guard your time as you would guard your life. Because in truth, they are the same thing. Every moment spent on the non-essential is a moment stolen from your path to mastery. Remember, every yes you speak is 1,000 no's you must enforce. Choose your obligations with the care of a warrior selecting his battles. Better to do 3 things with excellence than 100 with mediocrity. The power of your focus grows with each distraction you eliminate. The path of elimination is painful. Society celebrates accumulation. The masses gather possessions like armor, not realizing they forge their own chains. You must be willing to stand apart, to be seen as austere, to be judged as extreme. The warrior's path is not for those who seek comfort or approval. Consider this. When a master sculptor creates a masterpiece, he does not add stone, he removes it. He chips away everything that is not essential to his vision. Your life must be sculpted with the same artistry, the same determination, the same clarity of purpose. This is the way of the warrior, to cut not what is easy to remove, but what is painful to keep, to eliminate not just the obviously harmful, but the subtly distracting, to create space not just in your schedule, but in your mind. For in this space, true power grows. In this clarity, wisdom flourishes. In this simplicity, excellence takes root. Start today. Look at your life with unflinching honesty. What can you eliminate? What must you remove? Be brutal in your assessment, unwavering in your cuts. For every unnecessary element you remove, you create space for mastery to grow. The battle for excellence is won before the sun rises. I have watched countless warriors fail, not because they lacked skill, but because they surrendered their mornings to comfort and chaos. Here is a truth that has followed me through countless battles. The way you begin determines the way you end. Here's what most don't understand about the dawn. These quiet hours hold power that cannot be found at any other time. When the world sleeps, the warrior prepares. When others dream, the samurai builds reality. These hours before dawn are not just another part of your day. They are the foundation upon which all other hours stand. Think on this truth. Every great victory I achieved began in the hours before dawn. Not in the moment of triumph, but in the silent preparation that preceded it. The morning is your dojo, your training ground for the battles ahead. In these sacred hours, you forge the weapons of your will, sharpen the blade of your focus, and strengthen the armor of your spirit. The common man waits for the day to direct him. He responds to its demands, reacts to its challenges, surrenders to its pace. By midday, he is already defeated, not by his enemies, but by his own lack of preparation. He is like a leaf in the wind, carried wherever the currents of circumstance choose to take him. But let me ask you this. How can you expect to command your life when you cannot command your rising? The warrior who sleeps through his morning practice has already lost the day's first battle against himself. Each time you choose comfort over consciousness in these early hours, you declare yourself unworthy of mastery. Your morning routine must be as precise as a sword kata. Rise at the same hour, not when your body pleads for more rest, but when your discipline demands it. The time you choose matters less than the consistency you maintain. A warrior who rises at dawn but wavers is less prepared than one who rises later but never fails. Begin with silence. Let your mind clear like a pond. At dawn, no technology, no distractions, no voices but your own thoughts. This silence is not empty. It is filled with purpose, with potential, with power. In this quiet space, you will hear the whispers of wisdom that the noise of day drowns out. Next, awaken the body. Movement is medicine. Whether through sword practice, physical training, or precise exercise, you must shake off sleep's lingering grip. Your body is your primary weapon. It must be prepared before all else. Each movement should be deliberate, each breath conscious, each moment focused. Then feed your spirit. Study, reflect, plan. These quiet moments are when strategy is born, when wisdom takes root, when the mind sharpens its edge. A warrior who begins his day in chaos will find only chaos in return, but one who starts in mindful preparation will discover order in every challenge. Consider this. The morning is neutral territory. It does not belong to your obligations, your distractions, or your weaknesses. It belongs to whoever claims it first. Claim it with the determination of a conqueror. Guard it with the vigilance of a sentinel. Use it with the precision of a master craftsman. Your evening begins with your morning. A strong dawn creates a strong dusk. The warrior who owns his morning owns his life, not through force, but through preparation, through presence, through unwavering routine. Each morning is a minor life, each rising a minor rebirth. How you handle these small beginnings determines how you will handle everything. But remember this warning. The morning ritual is not about quantity of actions, but quality of presence. Better to do 3 things with full attention than 10 things with a scattered mind. Your morning practice must be sustainable, repeatable, and meaningful. It must serve not just your body, but your mind and spirit as well. In the end, mastery of the morning is mastery of the self. It is the daily proving ground where discipline meets determination, where intention meets action, where potential meets reality. Own these hours, and you will own your destiny. Listen well, for I speak now of the eternal battle that rages within every warrior's heart, the conflict between discipline and desire. This is not a battle you win once, but one you must fight anew each day. Your desires flow like untamed rivers. Your discipline must be the banks that channel their force. Here's what most people don't understand. Desire is like water. It flows where the path is easiest. Discipline is like the banks of a river. It gives direction to that force, transforms chaos into power. Without discipline, desire becomes destruction. With discipline, it becomes destiny. I have watched talented swordsmen fall to lesser opponents. Because they trained only when they felt inspired, they mistook passion for preparation, enthusiasm for excellence. This is the way of the amateur who lives at the mercy of his moods. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, the perfect circumstance. They will wait forever. But let me ask you this. Would you trust a guard who protected your gate only when he felt motivated? Would you value a sword that cut only when it wished to? Then why do you trust feelings to guide your path to mastery? The warrior who waits for motivation to strike has already dropped his sword. The true warrior understands. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. When you keep your word to yourself, you build an unshakable foundation of confidence. When you break it, you create cracks in your spiritual armor. Each promise kept is a stone in the fortress of your character. Each promise broken is a breach in your defenses. Your routines must be independent of your emotions. The body must move whether the spirit soars or sinks. The mind must focus whether thoughts flow freely or fight against you. This is not cruelty. It is cultivation. As the farmer plants regardless of his mood, you must train regardless of your feelings. Consider the cherry blossom. It blooms not when it feels ready, but when the time is right. Nature itself teaches us that rhythm and timing triumph over temporary inclination. Your practice must follow the same law. The sun does not rise because it is inspired. It rises because it must. Your discipline must hold the same unwavering certainty. Every morning presents a choice. Will you be ruled by the fleeting winds of desire, or will you stand firm in the soil of discipline? The answer to this question shapes not just your day, but your destiny. Small choices made consistently become the arrows of fate. Remember this, motivation is a fair-weather friend. It arrives in moments of inspiration and vanishes in times of trial. Discipline is the loyal warrior who stands beside you in every weather, through every battle. It does not ask how you feel, it asks what must be done, and then it does it. Your routines must be like the sun, rising regardless of clouds, shining regardless of reception. This consistency is not a burden to bear, but a power to cultivate. It is the difference between the warrior and the wanderer. One follows his discipline, the other follows his desires. One builds a destiny, the other chases a dream. But take care. Discipline without wisdom becomes rigid control. True discipline flows like a river, constant in its course, yet adaptive in its path. It is not about breaking the spirit, but about directing its force. The highest form of discipline is not mindless obedience to routine, but mindful adherence to purpose. The path of discipline will often feel lonely. While others follow their desires, you will stand apart, guided by deeper principles. This solitude is not a punishment. It is a privilege. It is the space in which excellence is forged. The crowd follows comfort. The warrior follows discipline. In the end, the battle between discipline and desire is not about suppression. It is about transformation. Through discipline, raw desire becomes refined purpose. Scattered energy becomes focused power. Temporary impulse becomes lasting impact. This is the warrior's way, to rise when rest calls, to train when weakness tempts, to persist when pleasure beckons, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. For in this daily victory over desire, true power is born. In all my years of swordsmanship, I have discovered this truth. The difference between the master and the novice lies not in what they know, but in what they have repeated until it becomes their nature. 1,000 techniques practiced once will leave you defenseless. One technique practiced 1,000 times will make you formidable. Here is what most people don't understand about repetition. It is not mindless duplication. It is conscious evolution. Each repetition should be performed as if it were both the first and the last, with full attention, with complete presence. The warrior does not simply repeat, he refines. I have seen warriors practice a single cut 10,000 times, yet never improve. They move their bodies, but not their minds. They go through the motions, but miss the meaning. This is not practice. It is merely motion. True repetition demands presence. Each stroke must be examined, each movement questioned, each result evaluated. But let me ask you this. How does water shape stone? Not through force, but through persistent, patient action. Each drop alone means nothing, yet together they reshape mountains. Your practice must follow this same principle. Every repetition is a drop. Every practice session is a flow. Over time, they will reshape your very nature. The true power of repetition lies in its ability to transform the extraordinary into the ordinary. What begins as difficult becomes natural. What starts as conscious becomes instinctive. This is how warriors are forged, not in singular moments of inspiration, but in countless moments of dedication. The sword stroke that saves your life will not be one you invented in that moment, but one you practiced 10,000 times before. Consider the bamboo. For years it grows beneath the soil, unseen, unrecognized. Then, in a single season, it rises to towering heights. Your growth follows. The same pattern. The repetitions you perform today may not show results tomorrow, but they are building an unstoppable foundation. Trust in this process. The harvest will come. Your daily routines are not separate from your training. They are your training. Every morning you rise at the same hour. You strengthen your will. Every time you resist distraction, you sharpen your focus. Every routine you maintain becomes a blade in your arsenal. Excellence is not an act, but a habit, and habits are built through relentless repetition. The warrior's path demands this understanding. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your repeated actions are creating your future self, one movement at a time. Each repetition is a vote for who you wish to become. Each practice session is a step toward your ultimate form. Remember this, the mind resists repetition. It craves novelty, seeks escape, demands variation. This resistance is not your enemy. It is your training ground. In overcoming this resistance, you build mental strength that cannot be gained any other way. The warrior welcomes this challenge, understanding that comfort is the enemy of growth. Your practice must be like the tide, reliable, rhythmic, relentless. It must continue regardless of mood, regardless of circumstance, regardless of immediate results. This consistency is not a burden. It is your path to freedom. Through repetition, complexity becomes simplicity. Through simplicity comes mastery. But take care. Repetition without presence breeds stagnation. Each action must be performed with full awareness, with the intention to improve, with the spirit of exploration. The same movement performed 1,000 times should reveal 1,000. Subtle lessons. This is the difference between mechanical repetition and mindful practice. The path of repetition will often feel lonely. While others seek quick results and novel techniques, you will be practicing the same basic movements day after day. This solitude is your ally. In it, true mastery is born. The crowd seeks entertainment. The warrior seeks enlightenment through endless refinement. Understand this final truth. There are no shortcuts to mastery. There are no secrets that will spare you from the need for repetition. The only path is through the boredom, through the doubt, through the discomfort. Each repetition is a step on this path. Take it with full awareness, with complete commitment, with unwavering purpose. Listen carefully, for I speak now of a truth that separates the masterful from the mediocre. Purpose is the soul of action. Without it, even the most perfect technique becomes empty movement. Even the most rigorous routine becomes hollow ritual. Every step you take must carry the weight of intention. Here is what most people don't understand. Routine without purpose is merely repetition. It is the difference between a sword dance and true swordsmanship. One creates spectacle, the other forges power. Many warriors go through the motions of training without understanding the deeper purpose behind each movement. They are like actors mimicking battle, all form, no force. I have witnessed countless warriors perform their daily rituals with precision, yet achieve nothing. They move through their routines like ghosts, present in body but absent in spirit. Their actions are hollow, their practice meaningless. Each stroke of their sword cuts only air, never understanding. Each step of their kata follows form but lacks foundation. But let me ask you this. Would you shoot an arrow without a target? Would you forge a blade without knowing its use? Then why do you perform your daily actions without clear purpose? Every movement must be aimed at something. Every action must serve a greater goal. The warrior who moves without purpose is like a ship without a rudder, impressive perhaps in its motion, but destined to go nowhere. The true warrior understands. Every movement must serve a greater aim. When you rise before dawn, know why. When you train your body, understand what you're building toward. When you study, be clear about what wisdom you seek. Purpose transforms mundane movements into meaningful progress. It turns simple routine into sacred ritual. Consider the master calligrapher. Each stroke of his brush has intention. There is no wasted movement, no meaningless mark. Your daily routine must follow the same principle, every action aligned with your ultimate purpose. The way you make your bed, the way you clean your sword, the way you arrange your space, all must serve your path to mastery. Your morning ritual is not just about starting the day, it is about setting direction. Your physical training is not just about strength, it is about forging resilience. Your evening reflection is not just about review, it is about deeper understanding. Let purpose illuminate every corner of your practice. Purpose transforms the mundane into the meaningful. When you eat, eat for strength. When you rest, rest for recovery. When you study, study for insight. Let every action be a deliberate step toward mastery. The warrior finds purpose even in the simplest tasks, understanding that mastery emerges from the accumulation of purposeful moments. Remember this, purpose is not static. Like a river, it must flow and adapt. What serves you today may not serve you tomorrow. The warrior regularly examines his purposes, refines them, ensures they still point toward true north. This is not overthinking, it is strategic clarity. Here's what most fail to grasp. Purpose is not just about the final destination, it is about the quality of each step along the way. When you wash your bowl, wash it as if preparing for battle. When you make your bed, make it as if arranging your armor. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. Your routines must be infused with consciousness. Each action should be performed not just with physical precision, but with mental clarity. Ask yourself, what am I building here? What am I strengthening? What am I preparing for? Let your answers guide your movements, shape your practice, direct your energy. But take care. Purpose should not become tension. The warrior moves with purpose yet remains fluid, like water flowing toward the ocean. Each action has direction, but is not rigid, has meaning, but is not strained. This is the balance to move with both intention and ease, with both purpose and flow. The path of purposeful action often feels slower, While others rush through their days, you will move with intention, with awareness, with clear direction. This mindfulness is not delay, it is the essence of true progress. For the arrow that hits its mark travels no faster than necessary. In my years of study, I have found that the body and mind are not two separate entities, but one unified force. The way you train one inevitably shapes the other. This is not philosophy, it is practical truth. Every physical challenge is a mental test. Every mental conquest requires physical discipline. Here is what most people don't understand. Physical training is not merely about building strength or endurance. Every drop of sweat carries with it a lesson in persistence. Every moment of discomfort teaches mental fortitude. The body becomes the dojo where the mind learns its most vital lessons. I have seen warriors with powerful bodies but weak minds. They can lift great weights but cannot bear the weight of pressure. They can run great distances but cannot stay the course when challenges arise. This is not true strength. Physical power without mental fortitude is like a magnificent sword in the hands of a coward, impressive, but ultimately useless. But let me ask you this. When your body screams for rest, what voice tells it to continue? When your muscles burn with effort, what force drives them forward? The mind commands, the body follows. Yet in following, the body teaches the mind about its own hidden strengths. Consider the relationship between breath and thought. When fear clutches at your heart, the breath becomes shallow. When anger flames in your mind, the breath becomes ragged. But when you master your breath, you gain power over both body and mind. This is why the warrior treats breathing as seriously as swordplay. Your physical training must become a mental discipline. Each repetition is not just a movement of muscle, but an exercise in focus. Each stretch is not just about flexibility, but about patience. Each stance is not just about balance, but about presence. The body becomes the brush with which you paint your mental state. Remember this, pain is the greatest teacher, but only for those willing to learn its lessons. When your muscles scream, when your lungs burn, when your legs tremble, these are not obstacles to overcome. They are opportunities to strengthen both body and mind. The warrior welcomes these challenges, understanding that comfort is the enemy of growth. The mind, too, must be trained through the body. Meditation is not just sitting in silence. It is found in the perfect execution of a sword stroke, in the mindful completion of a difficult exercise, in the focused practice of a challenging movement. Every physical action becomes an opportunity for mental training. Here's what the masses miss. The body will lie to you. It will plead for rest before rest is needed. It will cry for relief before relief is warranted. The mind must learn to distinguish between true limits and false barriers. This discernment comes only through consistent training of both body and mind together. Your daily practice must challenge both realms. Push the body and watch how, like mind responds, train the mind and observe how the body follows. Neither can advance without the other. The warrior understands this unity and trains accordingly, never sacrificing one aspect for the other. But take care. Training is not about punishment. The goal is not to break either body or mind, but to strengthen them both. Listen to the whispers of your body before they become screams. Observe the murmurs of your mind before they become storms. This awareness is itself a form of training. The path of unified training will often feel overwhelming. Society encourages specialization, focus, on either physical or mental development. The warrior knows better. Every physical achievement has its mental component. Every mental breakthrough has its physical foundation. Finally, understand this. The ultimate goal of training both body and mind is not perfection in either realm, but harmony between them. The body becomes a perfect expression of the mind's will. The mind becomes perfectly attuned to the body's wisdom. In this unity lies true strength. The first hour of your day is sacred ground. Guard it as you would guard the entrance to your fortress, for in truth, that is what it is. I have seen countless warriors fall not to superior skill, but to poor beginnings, their days corrupted from the first moment they opened their eyes. Here is what most people don't understand. The first hour sets the pattern for all hours that follow. As the first cut guides the path of the blade, your first hour guides the direction of your day. Yet most squander this precious time, polluting it with noise, cluttering it with trivia, poisoning it with the anxieties of the world. I have watched warriors rush into their days like soldiers charging blindly into battle, no strategy, no preparation, no clarity of purpose. They check their messages before checking their minds, respond to the world's demands before responding to their own spirit's needs. This is the path to defeat. But let me ask you this. Would you begin a duel with your sword still sheathed? Would you enter combat without first checking your armor? Then why do you begin your day without first arming your spirit? The first hour is your time to prepare for battle, not to begin fighting. Consider the dawn. Before the sun shows its face, it sends its light to prepare the world. The sky brightens gradually, the air warms slowly, the world wakes gently. Nature itself teaches us the importance of proper preparation. Your first hour must follow this same wisdom. Your morning routine must be a fortress against chaos. No outside voices before you have heard your own. No world's demands before you have set your own intentions. No movement before you have found your center. This is not selfishness, it is strategy. The true warrior understands the world will always try to steal your first hour. It will tempt you with urgencies, seduce you with distractions, pressure you with obligations. You must resist. With the same determination you would resist an enemy's advance. Your first hour is non-negotiable. Here is what most fail to grasp. The quality of your first hour determines the quality of your power. Begin in chaos, and you will battle chaos all day. Begin in clarity, and you will move with clarity through every challenge. Begin with purpose, and purpose will guide your every action. Your first hour should be like a well-executed kata, each movement purposeful, each moment conscious, each breath deliberate. Whether you spend this time in meditation training, study, or strategic planning matters less than the quality of presence you bring to it. Remember this, the mind is most malleable in the first hour. The patterns you set, the thoughts you entertain, the energy you cultivate, all will echo through your day. Use this time to shape yourself, not to let the world shape you. Program your mind before others program it for you, but take care. Guarding the first hour does not mean filling it with activity. Sometimes the greatest protection is space, silence, stillness. The warrior knows that power often comes not from what you do in the first hour, but from what you prevent from happening. The fortress of your first hour must be built of strong habits. Wake at the same time without negotiation. Follow the same sequence without deviation. Create space that is truly yours without apology. The world respects boundaries that are firmly held. Your first hour rituals must be sacred but simple. Complex routines invite failure. The simpler your morning fortress, the stronger its walls. Choose a few powerful practices and execute them with full presence. Better to do 3 things with power than 10 things with distraction. Finally, understand this. To guard your first hour is to guard your very life. For how you begin each day is how you live each day, and how you live each day is how you live your life. The warrior who masters the first hour masters his destiny. Greatness is forged in moments no one sees. The decisive battle may be fought under the eyes of many, but victory is determined in the solitary hours of preparation. I speak now of a truth that many find uncomfortable. The warrior's most important work is done alone. Here is what most people don't understand. Solitude is not the same as loneliness. It is not an empty space to be feared, but a forge where your spirit is strengthened. In silence and solitude, you hear the whispers of wisdom that are drowned out by the world's noise. You see the truths that are hidden by life's distractions. I have watched warriors seek constant company, constant validation, constant noise. They train only in groups, practice only with audience, exist only in circles of chatter. They fear the mirror of solitude, for it shows them their true face. This is the mark of the amateur, one who needs others' eyes to believe in his own worth. But let me ask you this. Does the moon shine brighter when watched? Does the mountain grow stronger with an audience? Then, why do you believe your practice needs witnesses to have value? The deepest growth happens in moments no one will applaud, in battles no one will see. Consider the bamboo. Its most crucial growth happens underground, in darkness and solitude. For years it appears to achieve nothing, while beneath the surface it builds an enormous root system. Then, when the moment is right, it rises with unstoppable force. Your growth must follow this same pattern. Your solitary practice must become your sanctuary. In these quiet moments you are both teacher and student, both master and apprentice. You face yourself without masks, confront your weaknesses without excuses, celebrate your progress without pride. This honest self-reflection is impossible in the presence of others. The true warrior understands. Skills are refined in practice, but character is forged in solitude. It is in these private moments that you build the strength to stand firm when others falter, to maintain clarity when others are confused, to persist when others retreat. Solitude is not a punishment, it is a privilege. Here's what most fail to grasp. The quality of your solitude determines the quality of your company. The warrior who cannot be alone cannot truly be present with others. He brings to every relationship his fear of himself, his need for distraction, his inability to stand firm in his own center. Your time alone must be treated as sacred. Guard it as you would guard a precious sword. Create boundaries that protect it. Develop rituals that honor it. Let no one's demands or expectations infringe upon these vital hours of self-forging. Remember this: in solitude, you learn to distinguish your own voice from the echoes of others. You discover which goals are truly yours and which were planted by others' expectations. You find your authentic path, not the path that others have laid out for you. But take care. Solitude without purpose becomes isolation. The warrior seeks solitude not to escape the world, but to engage with it more powerfully. Each solitary hour should strengthen your ability to act effectively when you return to company. Each private practice should enhance your capacity to serve others. The path of solitary preparation will often feel countercultural. Society celebrates constant connection, constant sharing, constant noise. The warrior knows better. True strength is built in quiet moments. Real progress happens in private. Mastery is forged in solitude. Your practice in solitude must be more demanding than your practice with others. When no one is watching, set higher standards. When no one is listening, speak more truth. When no one is present, bring more presence. The observer effect should work in reverse. You should be at your most powerful when completely alone. Finally, understand this. The ultimate purpose of solitude is not to remove yourself from the world, but to bring your best self to it. Every hour spent alone in meaningful practice becomes a gift you can offer to others. Every battle fought in private becomes strength you can use in service. Strike without hesitation. This principle applies not just to the sword, but to every action in life. Procrastination is not merely a bad habit. It is an enemy that must be eliminated with the same ruthlessness you would show any opponent who threatens your path. Here is what most people don't understand. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear wearing a mask of comfort. It is the mind's rebellion against discomfort disguised as reasonable delay. Each moment of hesitation is a small surrender. Each postponement a minor defeat. Together, they form a pattern of retreat that weakens your warrior spirit. I have watched skilled warriors fall, not to superior opponents, but to their own hesitation. In battle, they strike true. In life, they falter. They wait for perfect conditions, perfect timing, perfect certainty. But perfection is the enemy of action, and action is the only path to mastery. But let me ask you this. Would you hesitate if an enemy's blade was swinging toward your head? Would you wait for the perfect moment when death approaches? Then why do you hesitate to begin your training, to face your challenges, to seize your opportunities? Every moment of procrastination is a moment of death to your potential. Consider the arrow. Once released, it does not question its path. It does not pause mid-flight to consider alternatives. It moves with pure purpose toward its target. Your actions must carry the same decisive energy. When the time comes to act, act with the directness of an arrow in flight. The true warrior understands. There is no perfect moment. There is only this moment. Waiting for conditions to be perfect is like waiting for the river to stop flowing, an exercise in eternal delay. The time to act is not when you feel ready, but when action is needed. Here's what separates the warrior from the dreamer. The warrior knows that clarity comes through action, not before it. You do not think your way into right action, you act your way into right thinking. Each decisive movement dispels doubt. Each committed step creates its own momentum. Your battle against procrastination must be fought with strategy. Break large challenges into smaller skirmishes. Face the most difficult opponent, the most challenging task, first, when your spirit is strongest. Use the momentum of small victories to fuel larger conquests. Remember this, every moment of procrastination strengthens your enemy. Each time you delay, you make the next delay more likely. Each time you hesitate, you make the next hesitation easier. The warrior must break this chain with decisive action, must kill this pattern with committed purpose. But take care. Action without direction becomes mere motion. Before you strike, know your target. Before you move, understand your purpose. The cure for procrastination is not blind activity, but purposeful engagement. Every action should serve your path, advance your cause, strengthen your position. Your morning routine must become a weapon against procrastination. Rise at the appointed hour without negotiation. Begin your practice without debate. Face your challenges without delay. The first hour sets the pattern. Make it a pattern of decisive action. The path of immediate action will often feel uncomfortable. Society celebrates careful consideration, thorough planning, perfect preparation. These have their place, but they often become elegant excuses for inaction. The warrior knows plans are nothing without execution. Your response to opportunity must be like your response to threat, immediate, decisive, total, when the moment calls for action, act. When the path becomes clear, move. When the target appears, strike. Do not wait for courage to lead to action. Let action lead to courage. Finally, understand this. Procrastination dies not through a single victory, but through a pattern of decisive living. Each morning, you rise without hesitation. Each challenge you face without delay. Each opportunity you seize without pause. These are the strikes that kill this enemy. In the warrior's life, there are no small moments. Every action, no matter how mundane, carries the seed of mastery within it. I have seen warriors seek enlightenment in grand gestures, while neglecting the profound teachings hidden in simple tasks. This is the mark of one who understands technique but not truth. Here is what most people don't understand. Greatness lies not in doing extraordinary things, but in doing ordinary things with extraordinary awareness. The way you clean your sword, fold your clothes, prepare your meal, these seemingly insignificant actions are the foundation of mastery. I have watched students rush through basic tasks, eager to reach the important training. They clean their dojo without attention, maintain their weapons without care, arrange their space without thought. In doing so, they miss the essential teaching. Every action is important training. Every moment is sacred practice. But let me ask you this. Can you master the sword if you cannot master your own morning routine? Can you command armies if you cannot command your own living space? The way you do anything is the way you do everything. Each mundane task is a mirror reflecting your approach to all of life. Consider the tea ceremony. Every movement is deliberate, every gesture refined, every moment honored. Why should preparing your morning coffee be any different? Why should making your bed carry any less significance? The warrior transforms routine into ritual through the power of presence. The true warrior understands there is no hierarchy of moments. Washing dishes can hold as much dignity as wielding a sword. Arranging your workspace can be as strategic as arranging troops. Maintaining your living quarters can be as important as maintaining your weapons. It is not the task that creates significance. It is your approach to it. Here's what separates the master from the amateur. The master finds depth in simplicity, while the amateur seeks complexity to create meaning. Making your bed with full attention will teach you more about discipline than 1,000 books on the why subject. Cleaning your space with complete presence will reveal more about order than any lecture. Your daily tasks must become your daily practice. When you sweep, sweep as if this motion contains all the secrets of the universe. When you wash, wash as if this bowl contains your very destiny. When you write, write as if these words will echo through eternity. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is practical truth. Remember this, mindfulness is not a state to be achieved, but a practice to be applied. Every mundane task offers an opportunity for increased awareness, every routine action a chance for deeper presence. The warrior does not wait for special moments to practice attention. He makes every moment special through his attention. But take care. Making the mundane sacred does not mean making it complicated. The goal is not to add ceremony to simple tasks, but to bring complete presence to them as they are. The sacredness comes not from external ritual, but from internal attention. Your routines must become your rituals, not through rigid formality, but through conscious engagement. The way you begin your day, the way you maintain your space, the way you close each night. These are not just tasks to be completed, but ceremonies to be honored. The path of sacred routine will often feel slow. Society celebrates speed, multitasking, efficiency above all. The warrior knows better. True efficiency comes not from rushing through tasks, but from bringing full presence to each. 1. What appears slow on the surface creates swiftness in spirit. Your practice must encompass everything. The way you place your shoes, the way you hang your clothes, the way you organize your tools, all of it matters. All of it trains. All of it teaches. The small disciplines accumulated over time become the foundation of larger victories. Finally, understand this. The mundane becomes sacred, not through our declaration of its importance, but through our dedication to its execution. Every simple task done with full presence becomes a meditation. Every routine action performed with complete awareness becomes a prayer. The power of a sword lies not in its weight, but in its focus, the concentration of force along its edge. So too must your mind be sharpened to a single point of purpose. I have seen warriors of great skill fail not because they lacked strength, but because they lacked focus. Their power was dispersed, their attention scattered, their effectiveness dulled. Here's what most people don't understand. Focus is not a state you achieve, but a blade you sharpen. Like a katana, it must be honed daily, tested regularly, and maintained with disciplined care. A single moment of neglect can dull its edge. A single distraction can chip its purpose. I have watched men of talent waste their potential by trying to cut in too many directions at once. They pursue 10 goals with divided attention rather than one goal with total commitment. They are like a blade trying to cut through multiple targets in a single stroke, impressive in theory, ineffective in practice. But let me ask you this, can a dull blade cut through bamboo? Can a scattered mind achieve mastery? Your focus must Be sharp enough to split reality itself, to penetrate through the layers of distraction that society places before you. Anything less is merely scratching the surface of your potential. Consider the archer's gaze. In the moment of release, the entire universe narrows to the target. Past and future dissolve. Doubts and fears evaporate. There is only this moment, this aim, this purpose. Your mind must achieve the same clarity in everything you pursue. The true warrior understands multitasking is a lie that weakens your spirit. When you eat, eat. When you train, train. When you rest, rest. Each activity deserves the full blade of your attention. To divide your focus is to dull your effectiveness in everything you do. Here's what separates the focused from the fractured. The focused warrior moves through life like a well-aimed arrow, while others scatter their energy like falling leaves. Every time you switch tasks, you blunt your mental blade. Every time you divide your attention, you weaken your purpose. Your practice of focus must begin in small moments. When you drink tea, be fully present with the tea. When you speak with someone, give them your complete attention. When you train, eliminate all thoughts that do not serve your practice. These are not small things. They are the foundation of mental mastery. Remember this: the world conspires against your focus. Every notification, every distraction, every shiny object that draws your eye is an enemy seeking to dull your blade. You must guard your attention with the same vigilance with which you would guard your life. But take care. Focus without flexibility becomes rigidity. The warrior's mind must be like the sword, intensely focused, yet capable of adapting to changing circumstances. Your concentration should have a cutting edge, but your awareness should extend to your entire surroundings. Your daily routine must serve your focus. Create spaces free from distraction. Establish periods of deep concentration. Build barriers against interruption. The environment shapes the blade. Your surroundings will either sharpen or dull your mental edge. The path of razor focus will often feel isolating. While others pride themselves on managing many tasks at once, you will dedicate yourself to doing one thing completely. While they scatter their attention like seeds in the wind, you will cultivate yours like a precious garden. Your focus must be trained like any other weapon. Start with short periods of intense concentration. Gradually extend their duration. Learn to recognize the signs of a dulling mind. Develop the discipline to sharpen your attention when it begins to waver. Finally, understand this: the ultimate purpose of focus is not to exclude the world, but to engage with it more powerfully. Like a focused blade that can split mountains, a focused mind can achieve what others consider impossible. But this power comes only through daily practice, unwavering discipline, and the courage to eliminate everything that does not serve your purpose. The path to mastery is not a straight line, but a spiral, each loop bringing you back to familiar ground with deeper understanding. I speak now of the warrior's cycle of growth, reflection that leads to refinement, refinement that demands repetition, repetition that creates mastery. Here is what most people don't understand. Progress without reflection is merely movement. The warrior who trains without examining his practice builds upon hidden flaws. Each repetition reinforces not excellence, but error. True growth demands the courage to pause, to examine, to adjust. I have seen warriors practice the same techniques for decades without improvement. They mistake repetition for refinement, activity for advancement. Like a sword striking the same spot without adjustment, they create not a deeper cut, but a dulled blade. Their practice lacks the crucial element of reflection. But let me ask you this: would you continue swinging a sword if you noticed it was chipped? Would you maintain a stance if you realized it left you vulnerable? Then why do you continue patterns of action without pausing to examine their effectiveness? Every practice must be tested against reality. Consider the master craftsman. He does not merely repeat his work, he studies each piece he creates, seeking imperfection, imagining improvement. Each project teaches him something about the next. Your practice must follow this same pattern of conscious evolution. The true warrior understands. Every defeat contains a lesson. Every victory holds a warning. Every practice session offers insights that can only be grasped through careful reflection. The evening hours must be spent reviewing the day's battles, understanding what worked, recognizing what failed. Here's what separates the master from the eternal beginner. The master reviews his practice with unflinching honesty. He seeks not to justify his actions, but to understand them, not to defend his choices, but to improve them. Each reflection becomes a foundation for refinement. Your cycle of growth must be constant but natural. Reflect on your actions as water reflects the moon, clearly, without distortion. Refine your practice as wind-shaped stone, gradually but persistently. Repeat your refined movements until they become as natural as breathing. Remember this: reflection without refinement is merely contemplation. Refinement without repetition is merely theory. Repetition without reflection is merely habit. All three elements must work together, each strengthening the others, creating an upward spiral of improvement. But take care. Reflection must not become rumination. The warrior examines his practice not to dwell on past errors, but to chart a clearer path forward. Look at your actions with the detachment of a strategist, the clarity of a scout, the honesty of a mirror. Your daily practice must include all three elements. End each day with reflection. What worked, what didn't, what could be improved. Begin each morning with refinement, small adjustments, subtle changes, mindful improvements. Fill your hours with conscious repetition of these refined movements. The path of conscious evolution will often feel slower than mindless repetition. While others pride themselves on the quantity of their practice, you will focus on its quality. While they count their repetitions, you will make your repetitions count. Your reflection must be structured like a warrior's debriefing. What was the objective? What was the outcome? What aided success? What hindered it? These questions are not philosophical exercises. They are practical tools for improvement. Finally, understand this: the cycle of reflection, refinement, and repetition is not a process with an end. It is the very essence of the warrior's path. Each loop of the spiral brings you closer to mastery, yet mastery itself is nothing but the willingness to begin again, to look deeper, to refine further, to practice endlessly. Understand this truth: time is not money, it is blood. While money can be earned, borrowed, and repaid, time flows only one way. Each moment that passes is a drop of life that will never return. I have seen warriors treat their time like copper, coins, spending it carelessly on trivial matters, then wondering why their dreams remain distant as mountains. Here is what most people don't understand: time is not neutral. It is either life-giving or life-draining. Every moment either strengthens or weakens your spirit, sharpens or dulls your blade, moves you toward mastery or toward mediocrity. There is no pause in this flow, no moment without consequence. I have watched talented warriors bleed away their potential, one distraction at a time, one delay at a time, one just this once at a time. They would never dream of cutting themselves for entertainment, yet they wound their future daily with 1,000 small wastes of time. This is a death by 1,000 cuts. But let me ask you this: would you spill your blood for trivial amusements? Would you open your veins for meaningless distractions? Then why do you spill your time so freely? Every hour spent without purpose is life force draining into the sand. Consider the samurai's approach to death. He lives as if each day might be his last, not with reckless abandonment, but with fierce intentionality. Your relationship with time must carry this same intensity. Each moment is precious, not because it is limited, but because it is irrecoverable. The true warrior understands. Time management is not about squeezing more activities into your days. It is about protecting your life force for what matters most. Every yes is a blood oath, every commitment a transfusion of your limited time into a cause, a person, a purpose. Here's what separates the master from the amateur. The master bleeds purposefully. He knows which causes are worth his time, which battles deserve his moments, which purposes merit his days. The amateur bleeds randomly, reacting to whatever punctures his schedule. Your guard against time wasters must be as vigilant as your guard against sword strikes. Social media, mindless entertainment, pointless debates. These are not just distractions. They are vampires, feeding on your life force. The warrior must recognize and eliminate these threats. Remember this: busyness is not effectiveness. Moving quickly without purpose is still bleeding out, just with more splatter. Every warrior must know the difference between activities that transfuse energy into their purpose and those that drain it away. But take care. Guarding your time does not mean becoming a miser with it. Some moments must be spent in rest, in joy, in human connection. The key is consciousness, choosing deliberately where your time flows rather than letting it seep away unnoticed. Your daily schedule must become a blood seal, a sacred contract with yourself about how your life force will be spent. Guard your peak hours like major arteries. Protect your deep work time like vital organs. Let no one's urgency become hemorrhage in your schedule. The path of time mastery will often feel harsh. While others speak of killing time or passing time, you will treat each moment as vital essence. While they bleed carelessly into entertainment and distraction, you will direct your flow with purpose and precision. Your relationship with time must be both strategic and immediate. Plan your future like a general planning a campaign, but live your present like a warrior in combat, fully engaged, totally focused, completely committed to each action. Finally, understand this: the way of the warrior is not to avoid spending time, but to spend it nobly. Pour your moments into worthy vessels. Let your time flow into causes that matter, skills that serve, relationships that elevate. For in the end, we are judged not by how much time we had, but by how we spent it. The greatest battles are not won through force, but through immunity to distraction. I have watched mighty warriors fall not to superior strength, but to their own wandering attention. In this age of endless noise, the ability to remain unmoved by distraction is rarer and more vital than mastery of the sword. Here is what most people don't understand. Distraction is not an external force. It is an internal surrender. The notification does not break your focus. Your response to it does. The noise does not scatter your thoughts. Your reaction to it does. Every distraction is an opportunity to strengthen or weaken your warrior's mind. I have seen practitioners abandon deep work at the slightest provocation, a message chime, a passing thought, a moment of discomfort. They blame their environment for their scattered attention, never realizing that true focus comes not from controlling the outside world, but from mastering the inner one. But let me ask you this: would a mountain be disturbed by the chattering of birds? Would the ocean be distracted by boats on its surface? Then why do you let trivial interruptions disturb your deeper purpose? The warrior must become like these natural forces, present, powerful, and immune to superficial disturbance. Consider the archer in combat. Around him arrows fly and warriors clash, yet his focus remains singular: the target, the breath, the release. This is not because the battle has gone quiet, but because he has cultivated selective awareness. Your mind must develop the same power of purposeful attention. The true warrior understands. Peace is not the absence of distraction, but the presence of immovable purpose. Like a deeply rooted tree that does not bend with every breeze, your concentration must be grounded in something deeper than the surface. Agitations of life. Here's what separates the focused from the fragmented. The focused warrior does not fight distraction, he transcends it. Fighting creates tension, transcendence creates power. Each potential interruption becomes not an enemy to battle, but an opportunity to practice deeper presence. Your training in immunity to distraction must be gradual but relentless. Begin with small challenges, a simple task maintained despite minor interruptions. Progress to deeper work preserved through greater disturbances, like building calluses. On your hands, your mind must develop resistance through progressive exposure. Remember this: the world will never stop offering distractions. The notifications will not cease, the noise will not dim, the interruptions will not end. Victory comes not from changing these external conditions, but from changing your relationship to them. But take care. Indifference to distraction does not mean isolation from life. The warrior remains engaged with the world but chooses the depth and duration of that engagement. Like a sword that cuts what it intends to cut and passes harmlessly through leaves in the wind, your attention must be both precise and selective. Your daily practice must include deliberate exposure to potential distraction. Do not seek perfect conditions for your work. Instead, learn to maintain your focus despite imperfect conditions. The tea house may be noisy, the battlefield may be chaotic, but your mind must remain clear. The path of distraction immunity will often feel countercultural. While others pride themselves on rapid response to every stimulus, you will cultivate slow, purposeful attention. While they fragment their awareness to track many things, you will deepen your presence with one thing. Your power over distraction must extend beyond the obvious interruptions. Thoughts of the future, memories of the past, fears, doubts, and unnecessary calculations. These internal distractions can be more devastating than any external noise. The warrior learns to let these pass like clouds across the sky. Finally, understand this: the goal is not to become numb to the world, but to become so deeply engaged with what matters that lesser things lose their power to disturb you. True. Immunity to distraction comes not through resistance, but through such complete absorption in purpose that distractions become irrelevant. The way you close your day is as crucial as the way you begin it. Many warriors focus only on the dawn, forgetting that mastery requires proper completion as much as proper initiation. I have seen countless practitioners sabotage tomorrow's victories through careless evening habits. Here is what most people don't understand. The evening hours are not merely the end of today, they are the foundation of tomorrow. Every choice you make as day turns to dusk either strengthens or weakens your next morning's resolve. The warrior approaches sunset with the same intentionality as sunrise. I have watched skilled fighters maintain perfect discipline from dawn until afternoon, only to surrender all advantage as day wanes. They let their guard down, indulge in mindless activities, pollute their minds with unnecessary concerns. Then, they wonder why their mornings feel like battles against themselves. But let me ask you this: would you sheathe a sword without cleaning it? Would you remove armor without inspecting it? Then why do you end your day without proper reflection and preparation? The evening ritual is your maintenance of life's most precious weapons, your mind, body, and spirit. Consider the cycle of nature. The sun does not simply drop from the sky. It sets in measured stages, painting the heavens as it descends. Your day must end with similar intention and beauty. Each evening is a ceremony of completion, reflection, and preparation. The true warrior understands. How you end each day is how you end your life. Every evening is a small death, every bedtime a mini lifetime. Approach your evening routine with this level of significance. These are not mere habits, they are rituals that shape your destiny. Here's what separates the master from the amateur. The master maintains sovereignty until the final moment of consciousness. While others let their evenings dissolve into mindless leisure, the warrior uses these hours to consolidate gains, extract lessons, and prepare for tomorrow's conquest. Your evening routine must serve three purposes. First, to close the day with clarity, reviewing actions, completing tasks, settling accounts. Second, to extract wisdom, reflecting on lessons, acknowledging progress, identifying adjustments. Third, to prepare for tomorrow, setting intentions, removing obstacles, preparing your space and mind. Remember this: the quality of your evening directly shapes the quality of your sleep, and the quality of your sleep shapes the quality of your next day. Every decision in your final hours ripples through time, affecting not just tomorrow, but all the days that follow. But take care. An evening routine should not be another battle. These hours are for intentional unwinding, not intense striving. Like a sword being slowly and carefully returned to its sheath, your day should end with deliberate grace rather than sudden cessation. Your evening practice must include specific rituals. Clean your space. Disorder in your environment breeds disorder in your mind. Review your day, victories to celebrate, lessons to learn, adjustments to make. Prepare for tomorrow. Lay out what you need, clear what you don't. Set your intentions. The path of the evening warrior will often feel solitary. While others lose themselves in entertainment and distraction, you will maintain presence and purpose. While they let their days fade into unconsciousness, you will close yours with consciousness and care. Your preparation for rest must be as strategic as your preparation for battle. Establish a digital sunset. When screens go dark, create a sanctuary for sleep, clean, quiet, purposeful. Let each action lead naturally to deeper calm, clearer mind, readier spirit. Finally, understand this: the evening hours are not about ending, but about transition. You are not stopping your warrior's path, but preparing for its next phase. Every night is a chance to die to the old day with honor and prepare for rebirth in the new dawn. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. This truth has followed me through countless battles. What you do consistently becomes who you are inevitably. The warrior's greatness lies not in occasional heroic acts, but in the accumulated power of daily rituals. Here is what most people don't understand. Identity is not declared. It is earned through repeated action. You cannot become a warrior by simply calling yourself one. The title must be earned through thousands of small choices, each one aligned with the warrior's way. Your routines are not separate from your identity. They are its foundation. I have watched practitioners proclaim grand aspirations while maintaining habits that oppose them. They speak of mastery while practicing mediocrity. They dream of strength while cultivating weakness. This contradiction between stated identity and daily routine is the source of their failure. But let me ask you this: can you become a master swordsman by merely wearing a sword? Can you claim the warrior spirit by simply donning armor? Then why do you believe you can become excellent without excellence in your daily habits? Your routine is your reality. Consider the bamboo. Its identity as a towering giant is earned through daily unseen growth. Each moment of reaching toward the sun, each instance of deepening its roots, each day of standing firm, these routines become its nature. Your growth must follow this same pattern. The true warrior understands you are not what you do occasionally, you are what you do consistently. Your morning ritual, your response to challenge, your evening practice, these repeated actions are not preparing you for who you wish to become. They are actively creating who you are. Here's what separates the master from the pretender, the I. Master's routines are not external obligations, but internal necessities. They are not something he does. They are something he is. The practice becomes inseparable from the practitioner. Your daily practices must become as natural as breathing. The warrior does not decide each morning whether to train. Training is simply what he does, as naturally as the sun rises. This is not mindless habit, but mindful identity, expressed through consistent action. Remember this: every routine you maintain is a vote for the person you wish to become. Each time you follow your warrior's schedule, you strengthen not just the habit, but the identity it serves. Each time you break it, you weaken both. There are no neutral actions. But take care. Identity built on routine must remain fluid, like water, taking the shape of its container while maintaining its essential nature. Your practices may evolve, But the principles they serve, discipline, awareness, excellence, remain constant. Your routines must align with your chosen identity at every level. The way you stand, the way you speak, the way you think, all must reflect the warrior's way, not through conscious posturing, but through natural expression of deeply ingrained habits. The path of identity through routine will often feel invisible to others. While they seek dramatic transformations, you will focus on consistent practice. While they chase visible results, you will build invisible foundations. The depth of your identity is measured not in moments, but in months, years, decades. Your commitment to routine must transcend motivation. The warrior trains not because he feels inspired, but because he is a warrior, and this is what warriors do. The identity drives the action, which in turn strengthens the identity, a perfect circle of growth. Finally, understand this: the ultimate goal of routine is not to create habits, but to forge character. Every repeated action shapes not just your capabilities, but your essential nature. You become what you repeatedly do. Let your routines be worthy of the warrior you wish to become. There is no middle ground between order and chaos. You either live by a code or you die by its absence. This final truth contains all others. The warrior who does not bind himself to principles becomes a slave to impulse. I have seen this law, proven in battle and in life. Those without a code eventually fall to those who live by one. Here's what most people don't understand. A code is not a restriction. It is a liberation. It frees you from the tyranny of moment-to-moment decision, from the exhaustion of constant choice, from the chaos of unrestricted options. The warrior's code is his compass, his foundation, his unshakable center. I have watched talented fighters crumble not from external pressure, but from internal inconsistency. Without a code to guide them, they change direction with every wind, chase every opportunity, follow every impulse. They mistake freedom for the absence of constraint, never realizing that true freedom comes through chosen discipline. But let me ask you this: can a sword cut without a proper edge? Can an arrow fly true without fletching? Then, how can a warrior live with power without principles to guide him? Your code is not separate from your strength. It is its source. Consider the great rivers. They flow with tremendous power precisely because they are bounded by their banks. Without these constraints, the same water would spread thin, lose force, become stagnant. Your energy must be similarly channeled by your principles. The true warrior understands. A code is not just a set of rules. It is a framework for power. Each principle you uphold becomes a pillar of strength. Each standard you maintain becomes a source of clarity. Each value you honor becomes a wellspring of purpose. Here's what separates the warrior from the wanderer. The warrior's code is not a casual commitment, but a blood oath. It is not followed when convenient and abandoned when challenging. It is the foundation that remains when all else crumbles. Your code must be simple but unshakable. Rise before dawn, train with intensity, act with purpose, maintain clarity, honor your word, serve with strength. These are not mere guidelines. They are non-negotiable commands. Each one ignored weakens all the others. Remember this: in moments of crisis, you will not rise to your aspirations. You will fall to your standards. Your code must be practiced in small moments so it can hold firm in great ones. What you do daily becomes what you do desperately. But take care. A code is not a cage. Like the banks of a river, it should direct your force without dampening it. Your principles should focus your power, not restrict it. They should clarify your choices, not eliminate them. Your daily adherence to your code must be absolute. Not from rigid obligation, but from deep understanding that this is the path to power. Each principle upheld strengthens your spirit. Each standard maintained builds your foundation. Each value honored increases your force. The path of the coded warrior will often feel severe. While others pride themselves on flexibility, you will stand firm in your principles. While they adapt to every situation, you will hold true to your standards. This is not rigidity, it is reliability. Your code must extend to all areas of life. How you train, how you eat, how you speak, how you think, all must align with your chosen principles. A code that applies only to certain aspects of life is not a code at all. It is merely a preference. Finally, understand this. The choice between code and chaos is made not once but continuously. Each moment tests your commitment to your principles. Each challenge questions your dedication to your standards. The warrior chooses his code again and again, knowing that this choice is the difference between mastery and mediocrity, between power and weakness, between life and death.